Thank you, Mr. Kolb, for your kind words. A lot of people think that when you have Democrats or Republicans that the discourse between you always has to be done in a tough way. And Brian, I feel the exact same way about you. You've always been a gentleman. I feel like I could always count on you for your assistance, your understanding. And it's tough sometimes when I even see you and talk to you to feel like you're an adversary, because you've been that kind of a gentleman to me personally. So I do want to thank you. Thank you for that as well. And to all of the members of the Republican Conference, I have, in my own way, tried to make sure that it's a place where even if we, as I always said, if we disagree on policy, it should never really interfere with our personal relationships. And I do want to thank the members of the Republican Conference of always being warm to me, always being friendly to me. And I hope that I did try to return that to you. So I do want to thank you for your kindness and the relationship that we have, even though we have fundamental differences. Again, as I'll repeat, Mr. McDonough, who said, it is a family here of legislators. So I do want to thank you all for that. So to the Democratic members in the conference, thank you again, as always, from the bottom of my heart for giving me your trust and confidence of being the Speaker of the Assembly. It's something that I've never taken lightly, and I do want to thank you all for your understanding, your patience, your cooperation, your teamwork, because I do believe that the members of the conference, with no disrespect to the Republican members, that the Democratic members of the conference that I serve with, I believe, are the finest members of any elected legislative body, not only here in the state, but in the nation. So I do want to thank you all for what we do here. So let me start to congratulate some of our team. Helene, to you, your inaugural year as Ways and Means Chair, you did a phenomenal job. I think Denny would be very proud of you for the way that you picked up the mantle of being a phenomenal Ways and Means Chair. So I want to thank you and congratulate you on your first year. To the taller version of me, Mr. Jeff Aubrey, I want to thank you as always. You bring a certain dignity and class and experience here that I know that the members in different conversations have always expressed. Someone, even when I first got here 18 short years ago, you were always someone I looked to for wisdom and conversation. So I want to thank you for that, Jeff. And to all of our wonderful chairs, and we have many, and I'm sorry, Mr. Kolb, you said you feel outnumbered. So if I listed all of the wonderful committee chairs who have served, we'd be here a little longer. But I just, as a group, I want to thank all of the committee chairs for your hard work as well. And I'd like to give you a big round of applause for all of the work that you've done. And let me just mention the staff who has been great, has been helpful. I appreciate them. They work very, very long hours, and a lot of times when we're back home in our districts or we've left this place, a lot of times the staff has stayed here. So I really want to begin with Luann Saccone, Julia Malalou, and the program and council staff. I want to thank you. To Blake Washington, Philip Fields, Anthony Rodolakis, I practiced your name, Anthony, I'm sorry, and the entire Ways and Means staff, I want to thank you as well. Our great legislative team of Howard Vargas, Kathleen O'Keefe, Joanne Barker, and Brian Hock. Again, I want to thank you for all of your counsel and guidance. I really appreciate it. Joe Garber, Kim Ramos, and the entire intergovernmental team. Let's do this for let me get through all the names and we can just give one big clap. Brian Coyne, Marianne Dandles, Deb Miller, and the entire Legislative Services team. Don't clap, don't clap. Mike Weiland, Kerry Bechet, and the staff from our press office. Morgan Weinberg, Katie Bender, in Conference Services. John Wellspeak, Ed Harris, and the Assembly Maintenance team. My own staff here in Albany, Paul Upton, Issa Puello, John Knight, Anita, Kim, Wayne Jackson, and our group of Sergeant-at-Arms. They still applaud you after all these years, Wayne. Randy Bluth, the Bill Drafting Commission and the Assembly Revision Team, and to many others whose hard work helps to make what we do here successful. And yes. Let us not forget our three colleagues who passed away recently, Denny Farrell, Frank Skartatos, and Michael Simanowicz. We should give them a big round of applause as well. To Anthony Brindisi, let me go through the departing members. Thank you for introducing me to a food I had no idea it was. I didn't bug you to bring me any this year, but Anthony, you served us well. And again, without being too partisan, we really want you to do well in your very next endeavor. He's not here, but I want to acknowledge Dov Hiken, who has been a long-serving member, who represented his constituents well. And when Dov got up to debate, he's someone that you really wanted to pay attention to because he really wanted to make the points that he believed in. So we want to wish Dov Hiken well as well. To my good friend Matt Tatone, Maddie. See ya. No, no, but Matt, you know, when I first became Speaker, and you look at the challenge of a new world that I had to experience. You were somebody that I could always turn to for your calming demeanor and support, and you were, to me personally at least, he was. And you were always somebody that I could count on, so I want to thank you, and I want to, not being too partisan, wish you well in your endeavor. Mr. Scoofus, Mr. Scoofus, Mr. Scoofus. Again, as I said, you graduated from high school. You decided to run for the Assembly. So we want to thank you for your service. And James, you're another one that no matter what the issue was, if it meant something to your constituents, you were always willing to go to the mat. And again, without getting too political, we hope to see you not too far away from this place. But, and I'm even going to say some nice things about the Republicans as well. You know, I often joked, and I may have said this before, that when I first was elected, I represent a district that I don't even know if it had 2,000 Republicans when I first was elected. Now I think I have less than 1,000 Republicans. And so coming from a solidly Democratic district, I thought when I came up here, I often joked that I thought Republicans were one-eyed monsters. And I have to say one of the people who really had me realize that you did have two eyes was Bob Oaks. And Bob, as Brian mentioned, you've always been a gentleman. You are a guy with class. And I know I, too, am going to miss your presence here in this chamber. So thank you, Bob. To Dean Murray. Dean actually lived across the street from, or still lives, right? Not anymore. He used to live across the street from one of my good friends that I went to college with. And no matter how many times I tried to convince my friend Russell not to be supportive of Dean Murray, I couldn't win. So Dean, you're a really good guy. He said no matter what, you're a good neighbor. So Dean, I want to thank you again for your friendship over the years as well. So thank you. And to Mr. Butler, I would really like to tell, but since we're on camera, the name that you called me all the time. But I know it's something of affection, and you are another one who's a larger than life. You're just a really good guy and a gentleman, and you too are another one, like I said, who helped me to be convinced that Republicans were good people. So, Mark, I want to thank you for your friendship over the years and wish you well in retirement. Your wife tried to help me convince you not to retire, but she said she'll still accept you nonetheless. But, Mark, good luck in your retirement. He left already? He had to get home. And to Mr. Castorina, who, as I said, hasn't been here for a long time. And again, not to be political, I wish you luck, but not as much luck as Matt Tatone. But thank you, Rob. Thank you for... You know, I like to give my Star Trek references, so I'm going to go back to another one. And just looking out here now and seeing Joe sit in that seat, I know this may probably be, will be, could be the last time that I'll see him sitting in that seat. So I remember the scene from, again, The Wrath of Khan, when Captain Kirk was again thought they saved the universe, and the doctor said, "Jim, I think you need to get down here." Wait, I didn't finish my story. And so Captain Kirk looked over and he saw that Mr. Spock's chair was empty, and he knew that the world, his world, was going to change. To say so long to one of your closest friends is one of the toughest things to do. I don't think people realize how close Joe and we were close before, but I don't know if people understand how close we've gotten over the last 4 years. And I'm personally happy for the new challenge that he is going to take on, but I'm going to miss the hell out of you, Joe Morelli. And I love you, brother. Mr. Morelli.
Press the button that says speak. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today is especially poignant for me is that this is the last time I'll rise to address this esteemed body as a member of the New York State Assembly. It's been the honor of a lifetime to represent the people of the 136th Assembly District for what feels like an all too brief 28 years. I will be forever humbled to have served alongside some of New York's greatest public servants. And for the last 6 years, it has been an extraordinary, truly extraordinary privilege to serve as Majority Leader of the People's House. I would like to take this opportunity to recognize and thank those individuals who have helped guide and mentor me and who have made my time serving in the State Assembly so incredibly special. First and foremost, I want to thank my family, where everything begins and ends. I have been blessed with an amazing support system and the unconditional love of my family. That support starts with my wife and partner of 35 years, Mary Beth. She has always managed to keep me grounded. When I act out at home, she will say, "Don't Majority Leader me." I guess she'll have to come up with a new admonition. But more importantly, she's been incredibly supportive and loving every step of this journey. I want to thank my mom, Juliet, who watches every session at least once, often many times more than once. Hi, Mom. Our children, my son Joseph and daughter-in-law Nicole, my son Nicholas, and my daughter Lauren, who is always with our family in spirit, my son-in-law Nate. And I thank my grandchildren, Arabella, Jonas, and Harper. They are all constant reminders of the importance of our work in public service and that what we do in this chamber matters to both current and future generations. Very early on in my career, I learned the limitations on legislators and recognized that I needed to surround myself with great, talented staff. I'm truly fortunate and blessed to have had the privilege and distinction to know and serve alongside some of the brightest and hardest working public service in all of government. The incredible men and women have made innumerable sacrifices in the name of making the Assembly work for the people of the state of New York. They do so much of the work that goes unrecognized. They are truly the glue that holds this institution together. In that vein, I would like to especially thank and recognize my boss, Brian Coyne, I do want to thank him for his patience and his incredible friendship. The fact that he does more steps on his charge by breakfast than I do in several days is annoying, but he is an amazing individual, and I've had the great privilege to sit next to him for the last 6 years, and we have had an amazing friendship. I want to thank the entire staff for all the work they do every day in service to the people of New York, no matter where they work. Majority staff, minority staff, speaker staff, programming council, communication services, counsel's office, clerk's office, sergeant at arms, members lounge, everyone in between, front desk. You are amazing, amazing people, and it's been my joy to serve with you, and I want to thank all of you for the incredible work you do. To my dear friend, the Speaker Pro Tem, who has now said Mr. Morelli more times than anyone in the known civilization history of the world. So there'll be new names to call out, but I have loved every time I've heard you say my name, Mr. Albee. Thank you so much. God bless you. To my dear friend Helene, who just whispered to me that she became chair of Ways and Means and Bob Oaks left, and she sits next to me and I'm leaving. So she's feeling abandoned, but she has been a breath of fresh air and a tremendous leader of the Ways and Means Committee and a dear friend, Helene Weinstein. And to the incomparable Deputy Speaker, Erlene Hooper, who while Helene's off doing hearings, there's just this little space between us. And I will miss her dearly, her sense of humor and her passion for her job. Deputy Speaker Erlene Hooper.